Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our CNSM registration kickoff. Today, I am joined by a number of my wonderful colleagues who I'll will introduce in just a moment. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Could we advance the next slide, please? So just to sort of set the stage for today, we wanted to just go over a little bit of the housekeeping. But first, let me just share what our agenda items are for today. So we will kind of go over, how this webinar is set up. We will then introduce our advising team and SAS Center team. We also look forward to sharing with you what you can expect on your upcoming registration day, as well as your SOAR orientation. And then we'll go into some of the details in terms of how to read your course recommendations, some of the things you can be considering in your fall, as you're planning for your fall schedule. And then we'll do a live demo to show how students can add courses to their student center, my CSULB student center. And then finally, we'll share some resources with you and invite you to ask us some questions. So could we advance the next slide, please? So to begin with, just going to go over a few housekeeping items. So we have disabled the microphone and video feature because this is a webinar. The point of this is to kind of keep us on task to make sure we're delivering clear information to you guys today. But also, we want to make sure that we can share this video with you and anyone else who might have not been able to attend today. And so, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to hear your questions. We definitely do. And that's why we have enabled the Q&A feature. So as you're listening to the presentation, please feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A. And we will either answer them during the presentation or we'll address them at the end, where we'll have a time set aside to do live question and answer. We just want to note too that we will prioritize questions related to the topic today. If you find that you have other questions that are maybe off topic but still relevant to your to beginning here at CSU Long Beach, you're welcome to reach out to us via our CNSM advising email, which is something we will share with you in the chat in just a little bit. We are recording this, so that's the good news is that we'll be able to post this later on, so don't feel like you have to commit everything here to memory. You'll get a chance to review it later on. So we'll be posting that to our summer SOAR guidance for first year students website. So you'll be able to review this information at a later date. And then as always, we like to emphasize, we're sending students emails regarding registration, regarding orientation, and other important things that we want to share with you. So it's a good idea to check your CSU Long Beach email frequently, and to also check your personal email because you might receive messages from us in either space. May we advance to the next slide, please? So this is where I have the honor to invite my team to introduce themselves. We've got a lot of folks here today. I'll just very quickly introduce myself. My name is Shannon Durbin, and I am the coordinator for the Academic Advising Center here at CSU Long Beach in the CNSM College. So let me go ahead and hand it over to Cesar.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cesar Cervantes. I'm an academic advisor that works with bio students, last names N through Z, and then some molecular cell biology students. So nice to virtually see everyone.
Hello guys, my name is Dennis Garcia. I am the coordinator of learning communities and academic advisor here at the CNSM SAS Center. Nice to see all of you guys here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for coming. My name is Sergio Temores, and I'm the coordinator of peer learning. So I'll be working very closely with your peer mentors and running the tutoring centers in the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonia Santos. I'm an academic advisor. Biology is usually what I'm assigned, so I think we'll stay with biology. Very excited to welcome you all to really be able to talk to you about all the resources that we have available. My office is in the Hall of Science, room 164. You'll see that's where the SAS is located, and that's where all the advisors are at. I'm also the Thrive Events Coordinator, so you'll be getting a lot of announcements from me as far as events and workshops that are going on in the college.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tanya Paloyan. I am also one of the academic advisors and also the outreach coordinator for the college. I'm so excited for you guys to join us and to have your first semester at CSULB and to also help you ensure that this will be a really smooth transition. So welcome.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Tim Calioma, and I've been one of the senior advisors here at the College of Natural Sciences and Math for many years. And I just want to say hi, and I guess I'm also going to say a quick goodbye because I'm actually retiring here in a few weeks. But I'm just wanting to let you know we're all working really hard in the background, getting your course recommendations all set, and just also just make a note. You should be checking your emails to see that those course recommendations should be coming soon if you haven't received it already. And I also want to turn it over to one of our peer advisors, Samantha, who will be joining us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Samantha. I'm a fourth year biochem major and I'm a third year peer mentor.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those wonderful introductions. This is your team. This is the folks that you're going to be working with. We're really excited to get to meet you in just a few weeks here. You're going to be starting up, but before that, we will be meeting you in the registration process. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So, the first topic we're going to start with today is registration and SOAR and what to expect. Just very briefly, your virtual registration with the advising team here will be the first step in this two-part process. So like I said, that will be a virtual Zoom appointment. For some of you, you might already have received information on this. If you haven't, don't worry. We're sending out invitations based on your registration date. So you will be receiving that information very soon, if not already. And your virtual registration is also tied to your SOAR orientation date. And the SOAR orientation is not virtual, it is on campus. And let's move to the next slide and we can talk a little bit more about the differences. Okay, so, as we mentioned, you'll register first. And so on that registration day, here's what you can expect. So first off, it is going to be via Zoom. You'll be provided, if some students have already been provided this information, but again, it's linked to your registration dates. So you will be receiving an email regarding how to get registered, how to choose a time to get registered for a certain time during your registration day. We'll be seeing students all day during the registration day, and we have most of the students will be seen virtually. If for some reason you need to see an advisor in person, you're welcome to reach out to our CNSM advising email to make that request, but those will be more limited. So the vast majority of students will be meeting with us online. On your registration day, your registration hold will be lifted at 9 a.m. That means that starting at 9 a.m., you can begin adding classes to your fall schedule. You can certainly, not just add, you can register for them. You can lock those courses in. So starting at 9 a.m. on your registration day, you can start not only adding courses to your course bin, but you can start now, but you can actually get registered for those courses. That hold will remain off your record until 10 p.m. that day. So you'll have between 9 a.m. in the morning and 10 p.m. to make your choices for the fall semester. So students will be signing up for 30-minute appointments with us, to meet with us on the registration day. We'll start meeting with students at 9 a.m. and meeting with them throughout the day. Like I said, you either have received or will very shortly receive an email with all the details on how you can sign up for your 30-minute slot. And during that time, when you meet with us, you'll be able to meet with staff advisors and peer advisors. We'll be there to talk about any placement questions you might have in terms of math or chemistry. We'll also be there to talk about your course recommendations, any potential transfer credit that might still be pending. So you'll have an opportunity to talk with a live person who can help you navigate any questions you might have around registration that day. In addition to the staff advisors, we'll also have peer advisors who are just terrific at guiding you through all the different processes around registration, and they can answer a lot of great questions and point you to really helpful resources. So you're going to have a good team there to help support you on your registration day. One thing we did want to note is that, you know, the aim of your registration day is to make sure we get your questions answered and we get you settled in your fall 2023 classes. So we won't be going over your long-term plan on that date, but keep in mind that you'll have a chance to meet with us in the fall to talk about your whole program, what you're planning to do, your goals, and start setting out for any longer-term plans. So you'll have a chance to meet with your advisors in the fall and go over more details regarding your whole degree plan. If we could go to the next slide, please. So your registration date is also attached to a SOAR orientation date, and that SOAR orientation date will happen after your registration date. So your orientation date is a little different as you will be coming to campus on that date. And there'll be a number of really great activities you can participate in. You get a chance to tour the campus and learn about important resources. You'll get a chance to meet fellow students, both within the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics, but also outside. So it's a really great opportunity to meet other students. There'll be some activities. You'll also be on campus, so you can pick up that student ID. You can go to the bookstore and see what's there. I think usually they have some discount at the bookstore on those days, but if not, you can at least take a peek and then wait for that discount day in the future. Lots of really great stuff to see. And so on your SOAR orientation date, you'll be there until the afternoon, and the hold will be lifted. The SOAR orientation hold will be lifted at 3 p.m. on that same day. Just to note, you won't be enrolling in classes during SOAR orientation. You would have done that on your registration date before you attend SOAR orientation. And you won't be meeting with academic advisors on that day because you'll be doing a lot of other things, getting a chance to really get to know the campus, the resources, the students, and see where you're going to be for the next 4 years. So sure, let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so we wanted to just give you some tips on how to get prepared for registration. So for some of you, for all of you eventually, but for some of you might have already received an email with your course recommendations. If you haven't received your course recommendations, don't worry, we're sending those out each and every day based on your registration date. And these course recommendations are created specifically for you. They're based on other elements, all kinds of elements, which we will go into more detail later on in this presentation. So you'll be receiving your course recommendations. Once you get those, you'll want to review them and kind of see what is it that you'll be taking this fall. We also recommend you review the CSULB schedule of classes website. There you can see all the courses that are being offered this fall, get an idea of different times, professors, just it's good to get familiar with this. It's another resource to you, and it shares a lot of really critical information, important information about classes when they're available, and other elements around those classes. If there's any pending AP scores or transcripts, you're going to want to send those in to CSU Long Beach as soon as possible, like immediately if you haven't already, but we also ask that you bring, you kind of collect your AP scores and transcripts and have them set aside for your registration day if we need to kind of look at anything as we're helping you get registered. We also highly recommend that you go ahead and log on to my CSULB Student Center before your registration date. It's good to get familiar with this. You're going to use it every semester to get registered for classes. So start getting familiar with the process. You can actually start building your schedule for this fall. You won't be able to register for the courses yet, but you can certainly add them to your shopping cart and start kind of planning out and scoping out what your schedule is going to look like. So no reason to wait. You can start looking at that right away, and you can use your course recommendations when you receive them to help guide you on what you get registered for. Next slide, please. And so as you're about to start, about to attend your registration appointment, there's a few tips that we have for you to just sort of help that go as smoothly as possible. The whole idea is that we want to be here to support you from day one, and we want to set you up for success. Your success is our success. And so on your registration appointment, a few things that could kind of help things, move smoother would be, come in and get logged into your My CSULB Student Center, which you can find by logging into your single sign-on. So this is information that you guys probably had a chance to already review quite a bit at this point, but if not, you can sign on, you can go onto your single sign-on. That information is being provided for you in the chat. And then just click on My CSULB Student Center and start exploring how it works. Look up classes, adding them to your shopping cart, and so you can kind of get familiar with that. And during your registration appointment, you'll want to be logged on to your student center. It would be a good idea to have one of the tabs on your computer open for the scheduled classes. We'll also have it open on our side, but it's good for you to have that too, so you can kind of be looking at that information while you're adding your courses. As we said before, have a copy of your AP scores if you have them, or any transcripts, just to help guide the process. And one note we wanted to share with you is, there's kind of this idea of a best schedule and a right schedule. And we'll sometimes hear students say, I want the best schedule possible. And we totally understand that. But what is important, especially in this very first semester, is to make sure you're in the right schedule. So we do spend a lot of time in the summer preparing for your arrival. And that means that we're looking at the courses that you took in high school. We're taking a look at placement exams that you may have taken. We're looking at AP scores and transfer credits. We're looking at what you shared with us in the survey that we sent out to you. So we're taking all of those things into account so we can make sure that you're placed in the right place your first semester, because we know that if you start off strong, you'll keep going strong. And so this means that during your first registration experience, it's good to try and be flexible. You might have to, you'll get into the courses that you need, but you might have to take them at a time that is a little different than you were planning. So be flexible about times, be flexible about professors. The main point of this first semester is to make sure that we're building a really strong foundation for you moving forward. We want you to be successful. We want you to feel supported. And we want you to be prepared as you move forward in each semester. So, as you progress in your degree, you'll be registering earlier and earlier each semester. So in this first semester, our objective is to make sure you're in the right schedule and that you're set up for success. So with that, let me go ahead and have us advance, and I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Caesar.
Thank you for that, Shannon. So now we're going to discuss a little bit on course recommendations. And like Shannon mentioned, some of you may have gotten them already. So always a good practice to just review that recommendation that we sent you. And if you haven't received it, don't worry, we're still working on them. So just keep an eye out on your email, and we can go to the next slide. Okay, so really, what do we consider when we're making your course recommendations? Well, a lot of it does come from a lot of your high school work that you either gave to us during your CNSM survey, as well as we're pulling your GPA, any test scores that you're reporting. So SAT, if you took that, ACT, AP scores, CLEP, IB, these are all different types of scores that do give you some college credit. So if you reported that, or if you have received your recommendations and you sort of see a little like a text that says, hey, turn them in because we don't see them on our system. Again, follow up with CSULB enrollment services to check what's the status on that, because some of these scores could change your schedule, and it's best for us to make sure that you're in the appropriate placement. And we don't want you to sort of take a class again if you've already received credit for it. So along with the test scores that we're getting from you, placement, so your chemistry placement, your chem Alex, your math Alex, these types of scores that are going to determine your placement in your math as well as your chemistry courses. And then other supplemental information that we can't just pull from your high school performance. So that includes your commute time, your work hours, if you have to take care of family, what type of unit load are you looking for? Are you looking for part-time, full-time? So these are all things that we gathered from our advising survey. So again, this is something where if you didn't turn that in, your schedule might not reflect the best that it could be, because again, we don't know too much information that you gave us. So during your registration appointment, when you're working with one of the advisors, let them know like, hey, my commute is 40 plus minutes and it drains a lot for me just to get here. That's important information where we want to make sure that you're not enrolled in, 16 plus units in your first semester as you're trying to make that transition. So really, we pull a lot of factors trying to make the most appropriate schedule for you. And again, like Shannon mentioned, being really flexible with this and knowing that it might not be the best schedule, but it's the one that's going to get you on track. It's going to give you a solid foundation and hopefully moves you nicely along in your major. So we can go on to the next slide. Okay, so even though you've gotten your course recommendations, there's always a ton of things to consider. As, for example, you might have listed, hey, I want to do 16 units. I want to do a full-time load. However, maybe you've gotten your recommendations. You're seeing like, hey, they're recommending me to start in calculus. They're recommending for me to start in chemistry along with 2 other classes. I'm not sure if I can handle that during my first semester, or maybe something happened during summer where sort of your attention has to be more on family, more on work, whatever the situation, whatever the circumstances are. There's definitely things outside of just your school that you should definitely consider when making your schedule. School is only part of, the college experience. So make sure that you're trying to find that balance. Don't try to make schooling, even though it's important, your entire identity. Just make sure that it has that proper balance. So when you're building your schedule, do know that 12 units is considered full-time. So if you're a financial aid student, really that's the magic unit number. You want to be enrolled in 12 or more to ensure that you receive your full financial aid. So if that is something that you are receiving financial aid, keep that in mind when you're making your schedule. And know that students usually average between 12 to 15 units during their first semester. There's not really a correct answer, quote unquote, for how many units do I want to enroll in. That's really based on your circumstances, your situation, and really what you can handle during that first semester. If you felt like, hey, maybe I took 12 in fall, I could have probably done more. Spring, that's a great time for you to add more units and see how that works out for you. Another factor is your work schedule. I know when I was an undergrad, I had to work. So for me, it was really a situation where I didn't really have a choice. So if you're working, try to keep it as best as you can, as close to 15 hours a week as possible. Obviously, that's dependent on your situation. It might not be feasible, but if you're in a situation that allows you to do that, 15 hours or less is something that we recommend. As you start moving along more and more, 20, 25, even 40 hours a week, that is something where you might want to consider part-time status, unit load as well. to make sure that you have, like I mentioned, that balance during your first semester to build that solid foundation. And aside from work, like I mentioned, your commute to school, if you're commuting, if you're on campus, if you're living on campus, that's going to be a different situation. Do you have to take care of your family? What are the obligations? Making sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. Because like I said, finding that balance in your first semester can be very beneficial to make sure that your GPA reflects that, and you'll have a good transition into CSULB. So we can go on to the next slide. Okay, so for those that have received their course recommendations, this is what it looks like. For those that haven't, this is a quick snapshot of what it's going to look like, and I'll briefly just touch on some of the more important points on this. So at the top of the course recommendation, you'll see some of your personal information. Will list your name, your major, as well as the advisor that prepared this recommendation for you. And then at the top, you also see, for example, learning communities. If that's something that you belong to, you'll see some of that information filled out. Going towards the middle of the actual recommendations, you'll see it listed and broken down by courses. So course 1, course 2, and here, really it's organized by the most important courses being your math and your science courses at the top, followed by your NSCI 190. And again, if you want more information on this class specifically, that's a great question to bring to your registration appointment and ask an advisor, do I need this? Do I have to take it? So on and so on. And then from there, it goes into your GE courses. So really, that's the structure of our classes, with your math and science courses taking top priority, followed by your NSCI course, and then followed by your GE courses. As equally as important, over here on the right-hand side, you'll see a little, a box, and it says, please note comments below. Here is going to be a great tool for you that's going to be coming for an advisor. So for example, if in your survey you listed, hey, I'm working 40 hours a week and my commute time is 60 minutes plus, that is something where an advisor is going to say like, hey, I've seen students in this similar situation. Obviously, it's not the same, but in a similar situation, and it may be a struggle for you. It's not 100% guaranteed that it'll be a struggle for you, but it's something where it might be like a red flag. So in that box, it's going to list, hey, if you haven't turned in any AP scores, we're not seeing them, you report a good amount, and this is something that could change your schedule. So these are things, can we go back? Sorry. And these are things that are going to be very important for you to read over. So when you get your course recommendations, make sure that you're not only looking at your recommended courses, you're also reading the notes that the advisor is putting there, because it's going to be a lot of helpful information. And the last thing that I want to say is, you'll notice that there's no times or dates on these classes. That is because it's your responsibility to make sure that you build the best schedule for you. These are just the classes that we want you to register in. And again, one of the common questions that we got is like, do I need to register in all these classes? I don't want to do this class. Generally, for the most part, try stick to these classes 100% of the time, because again, it might not be ideal, but it's something where it's going to move you along in your major. It's going to give you a good start to your career. And then if you need to make any changes, that's something during spring you can discuss with your advisor. So again, we didn't give you the dates or the time. That's going to be your responsibility to make sure and go to the schedule of classes and really build your schedule, really giving you that freedom to make that decision. All right, we can go on to the next slide.
All right. So with learning communities, most of our students might have received a flyer or some form of email, pretty much giving them information about our learning communities. For those that don't know about our learning communities, it's essentially a program that is institution-wide. So all of our departments have a learning community here at CNSM. It is pretty much being offered based off of specific criteria. As far as the criteria goes, I won't go too much into detail, but after this slide goes, I will be presenting those links to the specific webpage, as well as the contact information and webinar that kind of speaks a little bit more about the learning communities. But as far as the specifics, you will be receiving some course recommendations There is a slight difference between those students that are not part of our learning communities, but the core courses are still the same. The only difference is that there's going to be some support courses, some activities that may be involved in those learning communities, right? As far as additional updates, those students that have submitted a survey or some form of notification of interest, there will be an update email going out soon as far as what the next steps are and what the procedure looks like. And then if you do have any additional questions, I am the point of contact, so you can go ahead and reach out to me. Again, the information is on the website. And then if you feel like that information isn't enough and you want to go a little more into detail, go ahead and shoot us an email on the email that's on the chat, and then we'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Next slide, please. And so at this point, I'll hand it over to our peer advisor, Samantha.
Hi, everyone. So just a quick re-intro. My name is Samantha. I'm a fourth-year biochem major. So I've been registering for classes for a while, so I kind of know how to use the whole student center and schedule planner and stuff like that. So I'm just going to give you a quick little demo on how to put classes into your enrollment shopping cart. You can go ahead and switch or the next slide. So this is going to be the home page of your student center. So when you first open up your My CSULB, you're going to have a bunch of apps pop up, and this is going to be the student center portal. And then from here, I can share my screen, and you're just going to open up that enrollment shopping cart, and then this. So this is what the enrollment shopping cart is going to look like at first. So on the right-hand column right here, you have this place right here where it says enter class number. And what we can do is utilize the schedule of classes. So this is going to be in one of those links that the advisors share with you. The schedule of classes is separated into 3 categories by subject, college, and GE requirement. And using your recommended courses, you're going to be able to see which course you're going to search for. In your recommended courses, most of the classes, the course number is already going to be given to you. As you can see right here, the class for this Chem 95, all of the sections are listed in a table format. And if you go across, it's going to have all of the information for that certain class. And using this number under class number, we can go back to the enrollment shopping cart and put that into here. And as soon as you do that, the class pops up and you just hit next and proceed all the way through. And from there, your class is in your shopping cart. That's all it takes.
Hey, awesome. Thank you, Samantha. So I'm just going to go through some resources, and we'll also drop the PDF in the chat for you so that you guys can all access the websites. These are all great to bookmark. I highly encourage you to do that. And as Samantha showed you, the schedule of classes, that's one of the main resources for registering. That gets released usually about a month before registration normally takes place. You guys are registering in the summer for your first time, but normally during the semester you would register in the months of November and April. So usually a month before that, the schedule of classes gets published, and that's when you can actually go on there and see the courses that are going to be offered and the days and times. So highly encourage you to bookmark that. And download that handout that was just put in the chat, and the links, if you click on the title it's in blue. You should be able to get to the link. So where to find major and GE classes, that, like Samantha showed you, you can filter it by the subject. And then my favorite is to filter it by the GE area, especially if you're looking for a GE course. So that is super handy, and you can see all the different GEs that are offered, and then you can click into the individual GE. So for example, if you have a C1 GE on your recommendations, you can go to the C1 category, click on that, and you'll see the list of all of the options. And pro tip, when you're selecting a GE, if you do have to choose one from a category, make sure you choose a course that's between 100 and 299 level. So like Psychology 100 or Science Ed 100. The courses that are 300 and 400 level, unless you've come in with 60 or 70 credits, you won't have access to those yet. So you want to focus on the lower division classes. And again, that's numbers 100 to 299. On there, we also have the key dates and deadlines website, which is really, really helpful. And so it lists important deadlines like the add drop deadline. So in the first 2 weeks of classes, you guys always have the option to be able to adjust your schedule. So if you attend your classes the first week after you've been to all of them at least once, and you're starting to think to yourself, this may not work for me, that is a great time to come and talk with us, because you will have that hold on your record, and you do have to talk to us if you need to make any changes. So don't be shy if something's not working. We want to make sure we're setting you up in your first semester to be successful. And as was stated before, the goal is for your schedule to be balanced and achievable. So we don't want to schedule a class at a time that you clearly are not going to be able to make it at that time. These other two resources that are really popular, we get a lot of questions about, are the tuition and fees and the financial aid websites. So those are all also linked. The university catalog is another resource that I think the more you navigate, the more you will kind of understand how to use it, but it's great for looking up course descriptions. So you can probably see on the schedule of classes, there isn't a description of what the class is about. And especially if you're doing like a GE search and you're kind of wondering or comparing different GEs or different courses within a GE category, like, oh, should I take this critical thinking class, or should I take the psychology critical thinking or science ed critical thinking? You can look up the actual descriptions on the university catalog by typing in the class in just the search that's on the left side. And it will show you the course, and you can click on it and just view more detailed information about what it's about, so you know what you're signing up for. Always helpful. And then the CNSM Academic Advising Center, definitely encourage you guys to bookmark this, because that's how you're going to get a lot of information about when we're available and when you can come see us, as well as who your advisor is. We're still kind of shifting around our caseload. So right now, if you were to go to the Find My Advisor page, it may not be updated, but we will get that updated soon for you. And you'll be able to see who your assigned academic advisor is. And then the Bob Murphy Access Center, great resource for students who have short-term or long-term disabilities. They have great resources. So I would definitely recommend checking in with them if you haven't already and you feel that would be helpful for you. And then we can go to the next slide. I think we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the questions you all have. So feel free, as we're kind of going through these, if you think of a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A, and then can get to that for you. So question 1, when looking at the schedule of classes, quite a few of the chemistry labs are listed as waitlisted. Will the waitlisted classes be available to schedule on registration day? I can answer this one. So if the class is closed or waitlisted, it's very unlikely at this point that it's going to open again. So you would basically want to look for a lab that is open. We will be monitoring these courses. So if it's like time for you guys to start registering and none of the chemistry labs are open, then we will go in and make sure that we can fit everybody that needs to be enrolled in that class. So we usually will do that if all of them are closed, because obviously you guys need to take those classes in your first semester. So we want that to be available to you. But at this point, I would say if you are looking for a lab, make sure it has the green dot next to it in your student center when you're looking for the labs. And also when you actually plug in, for example, Chemistry 111A, if you plug that into the search feature on your student center, you first will select the lecture. So you'll choose whatever lecture you want. And then after that, it'll prompt you to select a lab. And it usually defaults to only showing a few of the labs. So there might actually be more. You just have to click, there's a little next button that you have to get to, and you can see the rest of them. So just keep an eye out for that. And like it was mentioned, we're going to be available on your registration day to help you. So if you do run into any issues, if you're trying to register on your own, you can definitely have that appointment with us so we can help you actually enroll in the classes if you're having any trouble. Okay, go to the next question. Okay, we're getting lots of questions. This is great. So I think I answered this one. So we can register for classes anytime on the day of our registration between 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and no time before or after that, regardless if we are on the Zoom with our advisors. Any advisors want to take that one?
I can take a shot at this one. So yes, basically, we're here to, answer questions on your registration day for the time that you sign up for. So that 30-minute slot, but that's just, to really help navigate any questions that might come up in the registration process. So you can start at 9 a.m. You can continue to finesse and work with your schedule throughout that day, all the way until 10 p.m. So yeah, feel free, if let's say you sign up for an appointment to talk with us at 2:30 in the afternoon, you can get up, have your cup of coffee, have your cup of tea or whatever, start working at 9 a.m. to add classes and make adjustments, and then go ahead and show up and meet us at 2:30 if you have any remaining questions, and we'll be there to help guide you through the rest of that process.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Okay, next question. What is the optional course named KIN? It's a great question. Any advisors want to jump in?
Sure, I can help you with this one, Tanya. I can take this one. So KIN is short for kinesiology, right? Which is really another fancy term, a college term for a gym class. But these gym classes are a lot different than probably what you're used to in high school. I mean, you can sign up for classes like weightlifting. You can be signed up for soccer. You could be signing up for archery, for yoga, for swimming. So many, many different choices. We tend to recommend these courses because we think it's a great opportunity for our students to get to know fellow classmates. It's kind of a low stress type of class. There's a lot of mental work that goes into being a science or math major. So this type of class is great for stress relief. Should be an easy A, right? For most of these classes, it's not that difficult. So we do recommend it because we do think it brings a nice balance to your schedule if you can kind of work it in. So go into the kinesiology classes, look for the 1-unit courses. They're usually the 100 level courses, and see if you start seeing something that might be lots of fun for you. And I'll just give you a little bit, one more class, that kinesiology class that sometimes we get quite a few students who are interested. It's a surf class. You can actually take surfing here if you're an early bird and tend to get up early, because usually I think they're out by 6:30 or 7 a.m. at the beach. but that's been a very popular class here at the beach, right? So, so yeah, it's worth checking into, but it is optional that you don't have to take it. But again, we wanted to make sure you're aware that this is something that you might want to consider.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Okay, next question. I was looking at courses to satisfy my GE requirements, and I saw a chart that listed courses and some information. I saw that there's a column labeled other GE categories, and some courses seem to satisfy other GE categories. Does this mean that I can take one course to satisfy 2 or more GE categories? This is a great question. Thank you, Grace, for asking it. So your A through F GE requirements can only be satisfied by one course. So I don't know if that was the best answer. Maybe, let me try again. You cannot double count. You can only take one course per GE requirement. So A through F, you have to take individual courses. Even if it says it can count for additional areas, it can only count for one of them. So you can choose. If you see on your record that the class is counting for a humanities course, for example, but you actually want it to count for your lifelong learning and self-development GE, that's category E, you can just let your advisor know and we can actually move that course down, but then you would still need to take the C2 humanities requirement. So hopefully that makes sense. There are opportunities to double count your major requirements with GE. So all of you, many of you, if not all of you, will, for example, be taking like a chemistry class or a physical science class. And that is going to count for your physical science GE. A lot of you will also be taking biology courses, right? Those are going to count for your life science GE. So you won't have to take additional courses outside of your major to cover those GE requirements. For other courses, for other GE categories, for example, like the arts and humanities, your major is not going to have those built in. So you would have to go outside of your major to explore different subjects and find courses within those categories that will satisfy. Okay. Let's see, the next question. Would adding classes right now save them for future or until we can enroll? Okay, I will answer this one as well. So think about, so if you are adding courses to your cart, think about it as like shopping online. So just because you have it in your cart doesn't mean that you have like purchased it, right? Whatever you're buying from Amazon or, you know, if you're doing like some online clothing shopping. So it is not, you do not have a seat in the class until you fully enroll. So if you add the classes now to your shopping cart, I think that's great and wonderful, and definitely encourage you to do that so you can kind of get used to and like practice that process. I would also recommend that the morning of your registration, so before 9 a.m. when your hold gets lifted, I would recommend checking your shopping cart just to make sure that those courses are still open, because registration is ongoing throughout the summer. So it's possible that the course, especially if you put in your cart right now and you're registering in like 2 weeks or so, it's possible that the course will not be available at that time. So to answer it more directly, no, you don't have a space in the class if it's in your cart. If you fully enroll, then you have a seat in the class, and only then is when you can like really confirm that. So just keep an eye on your shopping cart if you are going to put the courses in there prior to your registration, and just double check it the morning of in case you need to make any adjustments. Okay, next question. I'm a pre-biology major. Was I supposed to take a chem placement exam? So this is hard to say because we don't have your information. But if you would like, you can send us an email and make sure you include your student ID number, and we can look it up and make sure that we get an answer to you so that you know. At this point, the placement exam deadline has passed, so we wouldn't really be using it at this point to place you, but we can definitely look into it some more and maybe provide you some peace of mind based on the information we do have. But yeah, go ahead and just send us an email, and the email is CNSM-advising@CSULB.edu. So I'll put that in the chat for you.
And I think that's absolutely right, but I would also add, it's good for you to take a look at our placement information. You might see that there's more than one way to potentially place into Chem. Chem Alex is one way, but there are other ways as well. And we've shared our summer SOAR guidance for first year students. And there you'll find on the left-hand side a specific link for Chem placement and how students are placed. So take a look at that as well. But totally agree with Tanya. You're more than welcome to reach out to us using that email, and we're happy to take a look at you specifically.
Awesome. Okay, so I know we are we only have about 7 minutes left. So let's see. Okay, is the NSCI course required for all freshmen? It was not on my degree program, but it was listed on the list of recommendations. What does the class cover? Great question. So this course is an introductory course that we recommend for all of our first year students in their first semester. And the purpose of the course is to help you get acclimated to being a STEM student, learning about what that means, learning about the resources that are available to you. And, you know, it's really there to kind of help you transition and make a smooth transition from high school to university life. So we do recommend that you enroll in the course. This is also one of the ways that we get information to you for your mandatory first year advising. Students who are in the EOP program will actually take an EOP orientation course that will take the place of the NSCI course. So not all students will have this course on their schedule, but we do offer this course to help you, like I said, basically get acclimated to university life and basically like stay connected with us throughout your first semester so we can help guide you. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay. Is the SOAR orientation only for students, or should parents attend also? That is a great question. I do know, so the SOAR orientation is really just for students. So if your parents would like to attend an orientation, they do have the parent and family orientation option. And basically your parents or family members would go kind of on a separate tour of the campus and have their own kind of programming. And so we would like to keep it separate. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. One being you're starting this new journey as a student at a university. It's a transition period where you're actually going to be taking the reins on your education and in your life a little bit more. You're taking more responsibilities. So I want to kind of encourage you guys to be a little more independent. And of course, if your parents want to come and like tour the campus, they can always do that. But I do recommend if they want like a more guided tour to sign up for the parent and family orientation. I think maybe we can drop a link in the chat there. I can look for that.
Already did, Tanya.
Oh, you did? Oh, great. Thank you, Sonia. Amazing. Okay. Let's see. So I think that covers most of the questions. We have one question here that we're going to type the answer to. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I'll just give you a minute and I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you, Shannon.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for leading our Q&A, and thank you to our other advisors here. Lots of great questions. Our biggest thank you goes out to you guys for joining us today. We're so excited that we're going to get a chance to meet you really soon, and we're so honored to be able to help you in this brand new stage in your life. Congratulations again on your admission to CSU Long Beach. And I hope this has been really helpful. And yeah, if all the advisors want to pop their cameras back on for a second, let's just say a quick goodbye. What a wonderful group of advisors here. Wonderful group of folks running our SAS Center. We're really, really excited to get to meet you very soon. So thank you again for coming by. Go Beach. We'll see you soon.